Hello learners, this is Teacher Aiza. I am your partner in learning. I am your teacher in Science Grade 11. Let's learn and have fun. Having said that, today's lesson is to categorize the different biotic potential and environmental resistance that affect population explosion. Our objectives for this, we have enumerate the factors affecting biotic potential, explain the environmental resistances inhibiting the biotic potential, display interest in knowing the different biotic potentials and environmental resistance that affect population explosion. Lastly, you have to work with honesty and integrity. So, are you ready to learn? I hope so, because learning is fun. To begin, let us have a gamified activity. The activity is called Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Classroom Edition. I know you're familiar with the game, right? Yes, that's nice to hear that you're familiar with the game. Okay, I know you are excited to play the game. So let's start. The goal of this game is for you to correctly answer 10 questions. 12 questions from each grade level and a $1 million question from grade 11 topic. So let's learn and have fun. Do you really think that you are smarter than a fifth grader? I hope so and I think so. So let's get started. Okay, these are the questions. Which one do you like to pick first? Okay, probably you like to start in the fifth grade. So this is the question. The question is, it is a community of interacting organisms and their environment. Living things interact with each other and also non-living things. What do you think is the answer? Okay, the answer is ecosystem. Next, let's have another topic from grade 4. Okay, so let's have, the question is, it refers to the group of interacting organisms of the same species living in the same area. What do you think is this? Okay, let me check your answer. The answer is population. Very good, learners. Next, you have, okay, fourth grade topic. The question is a group of people living or working together in the same area. Again, a group of people living or working together in the same area. What do you think is the answer? Okay, the answer is community. Good. You were able to get the answer. Next. Oh, you already have 5,000. Now let's move on to another question. Which one do you like? Okay, you like fifth grade. Now let's have fifth grade topic. It refers to the individual species. Again, it refers to the individual species. What do you think is the answer? Let us check your answer. The answer is organisms. Very good. Organism is the correct answer. Let's have another topic from third grade. Okay. So it refers to the non-living parts of an ecosystem. It's very easy. What do you think is this? Let me check your answer. The answer is abiotic factors. Okay. Great job, students. Next. Wow, you already have 25,000. Let's have another question from third grade. The question is, it is the transfer of food energy from plants and then to another animals. Again, it is the transfer of food energy from plants and then to another animals. What do you think is the answer? Sounds familiar, right? Okay, the answer is Food chain. Great job, students. Next. Wow, you already have 50,000. Next question from second grade topic. The question, it refers to the living parts of an ecosystem. Again, living parts of an ecosystem. What do you think is this? What is your answer? Let me check your answer. The answer is biotic factors. Great job, students. Next question from second grade again. Okay, the question, an organism that consumes another organism for food. Again, an organism that consumes another organism for food. Quite easy. What do you think is the answer? What is your answer? Alright, the answer is consumers or heterotrophs. Very good. Wow, you only have 2 questions left and you have 175,000. For the second to the last question, first grade topic. Ta-da! An organism that can produce its own food using light, water, carbon dioxide, or other chemicals. What is your answer? Okay, the answer is producers or autotroph. Great job. Next question. The last question. Wow, I guess you are really smarter than a 5th grader. The last one. Give an example of biotic factors. Again, give an examples of abiotic factors. What are the examples of abiotic factors? Let me check your answer. The answer is water, soil, weather, air, and sunlight. Did you get it? I hope so. Great job. Now, let's move on to the $1 million question. You've got 500,000. Now, let's move on to $1 million question. The $1 million question is, it is from grade 11 topic. Let us check if you can answer this. The question is, it refers to the rapid increase in the size of a population caused by such factors as a sudden decline in infant mortality or an increase in life expectancy. Again, it refers to the rapid increase in the size of a population caused by such factors as a sudden decline in infant mortality or an increase in life expectancy. This is from grade 11 topic. What is your answer? Alright, let me reveal the answer. So the answer is, what do you think is the answer, learners? Alright, the answer is population explosion. Oh, did you get the answer? I hope you were able to get the answer. Okay, so do you want more? Did you enjoy the activity? It's good that you enjoy the activity. Right, so anyways, thank you for playing. And let's move on. If you want another activity, let's move on to another activity. Okay, I know you really enjoyed your gamified activity. But this time, let's have another activity. And I want you to have your self-learning home task or your module, your pen, as well as your paper. Alright, so this is your next activity. This time, you're going to analyze and share. Now, try to identify the words or phrases as to biotic potentials and environmental resistance. Okay? So again, you are going to identify the phrases as to biotic potentials and environmental resistance. Now, these are the words or the phrases. You have here special defense mechanism, favorable weather, predators and parasites, lack of water, ability to compete or find food, resistance to adverse conditions, sufficient sunlight for all organisms, ability to hide or run, diseases, competitors including invasive species, and scarcity of food. Again, these are the phrases that you are going to identify, either it is biotic potentials or environmental resistance. Okay, did you get it? I think so. So, timer starts now. Okay, are you done with your answer? That's great if you're done. So, let's move on to your answer. Let us check if your answer is correct. Check also your answer. Okay. So you have here the answers. For biotic potentials, we have special defense mechanism, resistance to adverse condition, ability to compete or find food, ability to hide or run, favorable weather, sufficient sunlight for all organisms, and for environmental resistance, we have predators and parasites, lack of water, diseases, competitors including invasive species. Did you get the answer? Wow, I think some of you were able to get the answer. For the others, you have it next time, don't worry. Now let's proceed to the questions. So the first question is, how are you able to come up with your answers? Well, probably your answer is you use your prior knowledge or you only guess the answers. Well, that's good enough. Remember, learning is fun. Let's move on to the second question. The second question is, what are your bases in putting such words or phrases under biotic potentials and environmental resistance? And why did you say so? Okay, so what are your bases? Maybe you would say that you base your answers from the different characteristics of a living thing or living organisms. Well, that's a good idea. How about for environmental resistance? And maybe you would say, for environmental resistance, we base our answer from the different negative aspects that would probably hinder or may affect the living organisms. Well, great job, students, because you have your idea. Okay, so this time, let's take a look at the different biotic potential and environmental resistance that affect population explosion. Now, earlier in your gamified activity, you have there that one of the question there was ecosystem. And if you could still recall that ecosystem means an interacting group of natural elements and the organisms in a given environment. It can also be defined as unit of interrelationships between and among living things and non-living things. It consists of several levels of the hierarchy of ecological structures that are important to keep the system balanced. Remember that living things and non-living things, it has also another term. Living means also the biotic factor, and non-living means abiotic factor, and that is one also of the questions in your gamified activity. Okay, so in continuation, we have organisms that refers to the individual species. You also have population, refers to a group of interacting individuals of the same species that inhabit a defined geographical area. And community, this consists of two or more populations of various species that occupy the same geographical area. Okay, earlier in your gamified activity, one of the questions is actually related to population explosion. Now, let's have what is population explosion? A population explosion is actually a rapid increase in the size of a population caused by such factors as a sudden decline in infant mortality or an increase in life expectancy. So, in short, population increase when there is a decline of mortality and when there is an increase in life expectancy. Okay. Now, remember that the ecosystem is composed of different population of species. The population growth of the species is held by equilibrium by two factors. And what do you think are the two factors? The two factors are the potential or the biotic potential of the organisms and its environmental resistance. So these are the two factors, right? Remember that. Now, what is biotic potential? Let's have first, biotic potential is the organism's maximum reproductive capacity under an optimum condition. It is actually restricted by environmental resistance. Remember, biotic potential is the organism's maximum reproductive capacity under an optimum condition. And it is restricted or limited to environmental resistance. Now, what are the factors that affect biotic potential? Okay, so the factors that affect biotic potential could be biotic factors or the living factors and abiotic factors or non-living things. Okay, so you also have this in your gamified activity. So when you say biotic, it means living, and abiotic, it means non-living. So what are the biotic factors that affect biotic potential? Okay, so these are the biotic factors that affect the biotic potential. Special defense mechanism, resistance to adverse condition, seed dispersion, that's for plants, migration. Migration actually increases the biotic potential of an organisms when they moved into a place that is of good condition, abundant food, fertile land, potable water, and less prey. Okay. Right? Another, high reproductive rate, ability to compete or find food, ability of an organism to invade other habitats, ability to hide or run. Obviously, if an organism has an ability to hide or run, they can protect themselves from predators. If they are the same from predators, they can live peacefully and therefore be able to reproduce more often. Okay. Now, let's move on to the abiotic factors that affect biotic potentials. So, what do you think are the abiotic factors that affect biotic potential? My dear students, what do you think? Okay, let's have abiotic factor number 1, favorable weather. Of course. Another, sufficient sunlight for all organisms. Again, sufficient sunlight for all organisms. And water in the ecosystem. Remember, water is synonymous with life. Okay. These factors can be observed in plants to obtain their maximum biotic potential. Plants need sunlight for them to produce their own food, and in turn, they produce oxygen for animals in the surrounding environment. So that's why they are considered as abiotic factors, because as you can see, they are actually non-living factors or non-living things. Right? At this point, let's have the environmental resistance. So, what do you think are the environmental resistance, learners? Okay, environmental resistance refers to the totality of all factors that inhibit the growth of the population or biotic potential of an organism. So you have your point a while ago when I asked you the questions. So you said that you based your answer from the different negative features that can hinder or may affect the living organism. That's great idea, learners. Great job. Now, what are the factors inhibiting biotic potential? So we have parasites, lack of water, unfavorable condition or unfavorable temperature. Of course, every living organism needs favorable temperature. And you also have predators. So predators can be considered as the environmental resistance that inhibits organisms to achieve its full biotic potential. They hunt and attack their prey, leaving the prey at constant run for their lives. Okay, so this is an example of predators. Very common example. Okay, you also have scarcity of food. When there's no food, what will happen to the organisms? Organisms may lack of nutrition. Okay, lack of available food in a given area may lead to diseases since the animals are not getting the right nutrition they need for survival. These diseases may lead to mortality. Okay, so another factor is diseases, and you also have insufficient space and competitors, or it could include invasive species, right? Next, unfavorable weather condition. Then, you also have insufficient light, destruction and pollution caused by humans. So these are also considered as environmental resistance. Right, now let's take a look at the concept of biotic potential and environmental resistance. So I hope you were able to get the idea of the topic. So let's take a look at this. Biotic potential can be fully realized in ideal conditions, but environmental resistance delimits it. Okay? Then, without environmental resistance, species will grow exponentially and uncontrollably. So that's why it has to be balanced. Okay. So let's move on to this. What is carrying capacity? What is meant by carrying capacity? Carrying capacity is actually the maximum size of a population that an ecosystem can support, and it actually controls the extent of growth of the population. So that is carrying capacity. All right, learners, did you get the point? Very good. Okay, so example for this. On an island with potable water and fertile soil for planting, a higher amount of population would be able to live and survive on it compared as to an island with no potable water and sterile soil. Okay, so therefore, the carrying capacity of an ecosystem controls the extent of the growth of the population. Do you get the point? Very good, learners. Okay, to sum up, you have their population explosion, a rapid increase in the size of population caused by factors as a sudden decline in infant mortality or an increase in life expectancy. Biotic potential is the organism's maximum reproductive capacity under optimum conditions. And environmental resistance is the totality of all factors that inhibit the population growth of species. Very good, learners, if you were able to get the idea. Okay, to sum up, let's have this one. You have there the biotic potential. Under biotic potential, you have biotic factors and abiotic factors. For biotic factors, you have special defense mechanism, resistance to adverse condition, migration, C. dispersion, ability of the organism to invade other habitats, ability to compete or find food, ability to hide or run. Under abiotic factors, these are favorable weather, water in the ecosystem, sufficient light or sunlight for all organisms. So these are considered as the biotic potential. And it has two factors, the biotic factors and abiotic factors. Now let's move on to environmental resistance. So under environmental resistance, you have predators and parasites, unfavorable weather conditions, diseases, competitors, including invasive species, scarcity of food, insufficient sunlight and space, destruction and pollution caused by humans. Okay, do you get the idea, learners? Very good. That's great that you get the idea. Okay, now let's have this part. Okay, I want you to observe and answer. This is actually an individual activity. Observed and answer. So the direction there states, observe the pictures below, then answer the question that follow. Okay, so I want you to observe the picture for 2 minutes. Then, later, you will answer the question. Would it be okay? Then, that's great. Timer starts now. Okay, so time's up. Let's proceed to the question. So, I hope you were able to observe the pictures that I have projected or I have shown. Okay. Questions. What have you observed on the pictures? Right, learners? What is your answer? What have you observed? Okay, as you can see, all organisms are carrying their offspring, right? Yes, very good. So they're carrying their offsprings. Okay. Second question, how many offspring do organisms usually produce based on the picture? How many offspring do organisms usually produce? Very good. As you can see, they usually produce 3 offsprings. Great job, learners. You're really a keen observer. Okay, let's move on to question number 3. Which of the organisms above has or have higher biotic potential? Explain your answer. What do you think? What organisms has or have a higher biotic potential, learners? Okay, so based on the picture, the organism that has or have higher biotic potential is actually the cat. Yes, very good. It's the cat has a higher biotic potential. Why? Because it carries a lot of offspring. And it has followed by what organism? Yes, very good. The fish. And another is the dog. Oh, great job, students. You are really listening to the discussion. Okay. Next question. Which of the organisms have or has lower biotic potential? Okay, which of the organisms have lower biotic potential? What do you think is the answer? Okay, the organism that has a lower biotic potential based on the picture is actually the human, followed by the blue shark and the elephant. Why? Because they only carry one offspring, right? Very good. Great job, learners. You really learned our lesson today. Okay. Now for the last question. What are the factors inhibit the increase of population? If you could still remember, what are they? Okay, you have there predators. What else? Lack of water. Okay. You also have diseases, unfavorable weather condition or temperature, insufficient sunlight, scarcity of food. You also have unfavorable weather condition, and you have destruction or pollution caused by humans. Very good. Great job, my dear learners. Okay, I believe that you really understood our topic this session. Now, let's have this part. So, I want you to read the instruction. So, the instruction there say, or the general instruction there says, write your answers clearly. Yung malinaw. Hindi katulad ng feelings niya sa'yo na magulo na, malabo pa. Okay. Then, do not cheat. Huwag tumulad sa ex mong akala mo loyal sa'yo, paiyak-iyak pa nung nag-break kayo, pero kinabukasan may bago ng iba, di ba? Okay. Alright, so direction. Choose the letter that corresponds to your answer. Right? Now, I want you to get your paper and your pen and then you answer this part. Okay, question number 1. Which of the following is an abiotic factor of abiotic potential? Again, which of the following is an abiotic factor of abiotic potential? Letter A, defense mechanism. B, diseases. C, ability to find food. Okay. Next question. Which of the following is a biotic factor of abiotic potential? Again, which of the following is a biotic factor of abiotic potential? Letter A, scarcity of food. B, lack of water. C, resistance to adverse condition. Okay. Question number 3. It is the totality of all factors that inhibit the growth of the population or biotic potential of an organism. Again, it is the totality of all factors that inhibit the growth of the population or biotic potential of an organism. Letter A, abiotic factor. B, environmental resistance. C, carrying capacity. Okay, for question number 4. The rate of growth of a natural population, blank. A, always reaches the carrying capacity of the ecosystem. B, is limited to the carrying capacity of ecosystem. C, when graph always has a positive slope. Letter D, is calculated by subtracting death rate from birth. Okay, choose your answer. Last question, number 5. Which of the following is not true about environmental resistance factors? Again, which of the following is not true about environmental resistance factors? Letter A, they can limit the number of individuals in a population. Letter B, they can affect the health of individuals' population. Letter C, they can improve the reproduction rate in a population. Letter D, they can raise the death rate in a population. You have to choose your answer wisely. Okay, time's up. Let us check your answer. Please do check your answer also. Learners or students, please check your answers also. So let's have number 1. The answer is diseases. So this is actually an abiotic factor of abiotic potential. Okay. What about number 2? What is your answer? Which of the following is a biotic factor of abiotic potential? Okay, the answer is Resistance to adverse condition. Very good, learners. You did a great job. Next, it is the totality of all factors that inhibit the growth of the population or biotic potential of an organism. What do you think is the answer? Oh, very good. It is environmental resistance. Number 4. The rate of growth of a natural population, blank. What is the answer? What letter? Okay, it's letter B. It's limited to the carrying capacity of the ecosystem. So, number 5, last number. Which of the following is not true about environmental resistant factors? The answer is, they can improve the reproduction rate in a population. Of course, that's not true. Environmental resistance cannot improve the reproduction rate in a population. Wow, great job, my dear learners. I hope you have a good answer, or you get the good answer or the correct answer. Okay, at this point, let's have your learning enablement. This is actually your assignment. Now, for your assignment, you're going to list down at least 5 organisms that you see in your community and then identify their biotic potential and environmental resistance. So, first column for organism, second column for biotic potential, third column for environmental resistance. Okay, example there, quackgrass. Biotic potential, they reproduce rapidly through their runners and seeds, and they have rapid growth. Environmental resistance, they can be mowed by people and they can be attacked by bacteria, fungi, and viruses. Okay? I hope, learners, you will do your assignment. And I guess that would be all for this session. I hope you enjoy and you learned something for this session. This has been your teacher in Science 11. This has been Teacher Aiza, your partner in learning. Thank you, and please remember, learning is fun.